Yes, we have in the minutes. Do I have a motion to accept them as presented?
Motion to accept them as presented.
I have a motion, and I will second that. All in favor, aye? 2-0. I'll turn it right over to Jared.
All right, we've got two items of new business. First one is a request from Jerry and Sarah Howard. This is for an encroachment into the Keller Dowdy Shady Prong 1. Apparently, they had built a pond, I think, last year. Part of the dirt mound that they, where they excavated the pond is within the right-of-way of that drain. Their request is to go down to a 25, or leave 25 feet and leave part of that mound. There is a little bit of it that is even closer than the 25 feet. I told them that that's generally the narrowest that will go on an open drain. There is a little bit of it that will still have to be moved. The opposite side of the ditch is farm field. There's plenty of open space there, and the 25 feet on the side that they own, I mean, it would give us enough room that we could take an excavator or whatever down through there if need be.
Is that the side of the ditch they normally spray on, or the opposite side?
So typically, we actually spray on the opposite side of the ditch, just because of the way they run through there. We'd still be able to get through either side.
That was my question.
Yep, still, with 25 feet, there would still be plenty of room.
And you have a recommendation to,
I'm okay with it, yeah.
Do we need to identify that they're already in violation of that, and there going to remove some things to meet the 25-foot setback that you're considering?
I think that's just what we need to, when it's approved, or I assume it's going to be approved, is that it's to within the 25 feet. Anything that's closer than that currently will have to be removed and leave 25 feet. Yeah, we need to make that clear.
So in your estimation, are they in violation of that 25-foot setback now?
There is an area 30 or 40 feet long that it's within about 18 feet of the top of bank. So there is an area that will have to be removed outside of that 25 feet.
Should the commissioners then consider making any approval contingent upon curing that already? Or will that create a hardship on the landowner?
I don't think it'll create a hardship. The contractor asked me if they should go out and move it now when they were making their request. And I said, why don't you wait and make sure that they really approve 25 feet before you move part of it, and then might have to move more or something. So I told them I would wait until the approval is, and we could give tentative approval that it's not going to be recorded until that part is moved. We could do something like that, yes.
But you're otherwise comfortable that 25 feet for that area is going to be
enough.
Sufficient for your services and needs? And I don't mean to step on the toes of the commissioners of the board. I apologize.
No.
I just wanted to be sure. And so if
reasonable.
there's already some, obviously, I think the way you described it, they discovered this while they were having other people come in to probably do some finishing of repairs, and they realized they were within the
When the pond,
easement.
when the pond inspection was done through area plan, that's when they realized
Okay.
the dirt had been placed in there.
the contractor, when he's finished, will he notify you to do a physical?
We could, yes, yeah.
Let's do that.
So I'll make a motion to accept the 25-foot variance with final approval of you making sure they're within that.
Within that 25, okay.
I'll second that. All in favor, aye? 2-0.
The second request is from James and Amanda Terry. This is out in Jackson Township in Section 22, and they are requesting an encroachment on a 500-foot pond. It has not been built yet. They would like to make it's a very small pond, about 500 square feet, and it would be in the right-of-way of the William A. Pond open drain. Through this area, and there had also been a request 10 years ago, I believe, 2012, for a garage and an existing house that was there. I think that property was selling or changing hands, and so they wanted to clear that up. That encroachment agreement was specific to the house and the garage, and so told them that they would need to do one for the pond. It's the same distance, 25 feet is what they're requesting. On that particular ditch, and because of a wooded area along the ditch on that particular side, we have always operated from the opposite side of the ditch. Even with the 25 feet, that would still be enough room if we needed to work on both sides. So I would recommend it for approval as well.
Where's the tree line? What's this trees?
So there's trees on their side of the ditch currently. We've always operated from the opposite side. There's a lot more room on the opposite side.
How would it work if we needed them to, I mean, we're approving the encroachment, but if there are other issues, I mean, obviously we can say, okay, you're still within that. How would they clean up issues if they're getting this deviation for a pond? How would we undo the pond for the pond?
So we wouldn't undo the pond, I guess. So the only example I can really think of, we had one place, is up at Ossian, their subdivision, there's a pond that's within, and I forget how many feet it is,
Brook Ridge?
on Brook Ridge. In order for us to dip the ditch out through there, they have to truck the spoil out. The owner, and it's the owner of the property is actually the association for that subdivision. They had to pay the difference in price to haul the spoil out. There was one instance, there was some erosion, we had to put riprap on there. Because of the pond bank, they couldn't drive a dump truck, so they had to scrape off some ground, make it level so they could back a dump truck in there. They had to pay that additional cost of being able to get a dump truck in. We've done that a few times. It's not often that has to happen, but we have had to do that a few times. And that's just part of this agreement, is that any additional cost that would be borne by that landowner. And so far, that has worked when we've had to do it. Not very often that it has to happen.
Why is it a 50-foot setback if we make exceptions of 25 all the time?
So statutorily, and why this goes back to, 1966, there was always in the statute, there was a 75-foot right-of-way. And my guess is, back in those times, drag lines, they were using equipment that you needed a little more room to work. That you were dealing with drag line, they had to swing around, all that. And it just probably didn't keep up with the technology and the equipment we have. And in the statute, it says we can allow permanent structures to be within the easement. They just have to do it in writing. And so that's why we've done these.
And it's discretionary for the commissioners too, because
Yeah.
essentially the statutory drainage easement is granted to the county, which is the executive, which is the commissioners, and the commissioners have delegated by statute that authority to this drainage board, the way it's constituted. You have the discretion to do so, but it has to be subject to, but it would be subject to the surveyor.
We look at it and say, can we still maintain the ditch? Is it still gonna be proper operation and all that, even if there's an encroachment there? And I'm actually gonna do a presentation next week on this. There's a cost to an encroachment. We wanna make sure that we're not on the hook, and when I say we're on the hook, the drainage board, who is spending everybody else's money in that watershed, we wanna make sure that they're not on the hook for it, that the person that put the encroachment there, they have to pay that additional cost.
One question, which way does the water drain?
To the north.
Correct.
North and, I guess it'd be north and east.
Northeast. Okay. Which is even better.
Yeah, yeah,
There are jurisdictions that don't permit any encroachments.
yeah. I think it's Boone County. It is off limits. That 75-foot is out of bounds. They will not approve one. Now, if you look at some of the maps of what has happened in Boone County, there's stuff there. It's just they don't approve them. So I would almost rather go through the approval process to make sure that things are farther away, and we have a written agreement that says if there's additional cost, you have to pay it. And rather than look the other way, I guess.
I'll make the motion to approve the Terry's request for variance to 25-foot setback.
And I will second that. All in favor, aye? 2-0.
And then At our next, that's all the new business I have. At our next meeting, we will have at least one and hopefully a second project that we're sending out for some tile replacement. Hopefully, we will have those quotes back and for approval at our next, at least one of them will be for approval at the next meeting. The other one might just be for informational purposes. There's definitely not enough money in the maintenance fund to fund it. It's if some of the other landowners are willing to help fund it. But we hope to have two that you could approve at the next meeting. So.
Very good.
And then just one other thing, if you notice on the detail listing sheet, thank Amy, she made this look a whole lot more like the old one used to. And if you notice that there are a lot of highlighted sections in it, it's from the spray program that we touch a lot of drains when we do the billing for that, or the claims for that, and that's why a lot of them are lit up, that there was money spent out of them. It's where the spray program claims were paid.
What we talked about before, I think they put that on record, that request.
It's, I guess, just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up, had a request from the mayor of Bluffton last week, late last week, and he was wanting information about our various drainage funds, how much was in the funds, you know, kind of an explanation of how that works. Was asking why some were in the red, some are not, and it was something that I don't think trying to type out an email is going to be the way to explain it. I'm about going to have to sit down with the mayor and explain how all the drainage funds work and which ones you can, you know, if money was collected in this particular watershed, that money has to be spent in that particular watershed. You know, you can't use drainage funds to pay my salary or Amy's salary or anything like that. That it's, that money is specific to work being done, not for other uses, so.
Are all the funds, if you say, hey, we have to go do this, whether it's in the city or the county, what's the approval to use those funds? Is it this drainage board?
Yeah, this drainage board's gonna approve any work that would be done on a county drain. Doesn't matter if it's in city limits, outside of city limits. Approval would go through this board. And, I mean, we look at where the work needs done, irregardless of whether it's in a city or outside of a city. It's, where does the work need to be done? Like most things, we have limited funds. You spend the money where you get the most bang for your buck. And, you know, there's times that you have to rank things as a priority, and you may not have money to do all of the projects all at once, so you do the highest priority first, and then you go down the list. And,
Collect up to so much,
right, so,
shut it off.
and with a standard maintenance hearing, maintenance increase or establishing a maintenance, the standard is whatever it would collect in 1 year, drainage fund wise. If you have a balance that exceeds 4 times that amount, you don't collect on it the next year. At the public hearing, we can establish that it will collect 8 times, or that it can accumulate 8 times what its annual maintenance balance is. Now, there are a couple of exceptions to that. If we have a project that we know is coming, and like we've bid something out, it may be at the 4 or 8 times, but we know we have a claim that's gonna be coming in, and it might be next year. We could technically still collect that because that's an encumbered amount that's gonna come out of that maintenance fund. So, and that's something that I look at every year when we get towards the end of the year and before tax collection next year. You know, are there funds that need to be shut off? Are there funds that we've got projects coming up in, and do we need to get a project lined up so that we can continue collecting? When you don't collect on some of these, especially the smaller watersheds, if you don't collect for a year, you get behind the 8 ball really fast. That you've got to do
One of my
project.
questions, the Art Gerber drain has been, it was on when I started as commissioner, it's been off for
Yeah,
6, 8 years?
Yeah.
8 years maybe?
yeah.
And now we have a couple projects, the Y went in, and this new apartment complex coming in. What's the likelihood of that getting?
We need to take a look at that drain and see if there's work that needs to be done, and if there is, we may not be able to do all of it at once, but we at least need to start. If there's work that needs to be done, we need to get started on it.
I didn't know because the one basin
Yeah.
Catty Corner? That's
The,
kinda like here?
the very southern basin
Yes.
is part of the county drain system, yes.
Right, so I didn't know how that, just,
There are cases of the projects come up, there's not enough funds, and some of the people on that drainage also put funds in. to get the
They'll put funds in if it's a reasonable amount. We have the general drain improvement fund, which is kind of like a revolving loan fund. We can borrow out of it, pay for a project. You can only run it in the red so far and use those funds, but you can run it in the red a little bit. As the money comes in from the assessments, then that pays back the general drain improvement fund. And then that money, it's more like a revolving loan fund is the best way to say it. But it's kind of internal to the county. It's not like applying to the state for revolving loan dollars, that we kind of have our own built in, but it's specific to drainage projects. So.
That's going to be done by resolution vote.
So if it's just a maintenance, you don't have to. I mean, if you're approving a project and there's not enough funds in the maintenance fund, you're by default approving taking it out of the GDI, but yeah. But you can't use GDI money to buy, a truck or something like that. It's specific to drainage projects as well. You can use that money to do, if you were doing some kind of a engineering feasibility study or something, you might have to borrow out of that fund to pay for it. When the project's done, then that project would pay those monies back. So,
Are there projects being brought to the attention of the commissioners that need to be discussed or referenced with this?
I just want to make sure that if there's not enough funds, so if for some reason, I'm not sure what the intent is, but if for some reason one of them drains all the way down, there's not enough funds, and there's something that has to happen. In the past, some of the landowners on that drainage will say, hey, we'll meet with the county and we try to figure that out. So
we had one on the south edge of town. It was a big tile.
Ellingham and.
Right off Ellingham. There wasn't enough money in the maintenance funds to replace that tile. There was a developer that wanted to develop some land out there that it needed replaced. Between the county drainage funds and the county commissioners, they paid a third. City of Bluffton paid a third. Developer paid a third. None of us had a huge outlay in expense, and we got a $90-some thousand project done.
And I hate to bring something up that may be a question that should be discussed privately, but we do have the drain that's currently owned by the county within the city of Bluffton limits where there's been a development. I mean, at some point, we're going to have to use your phrase, we're going to have to turn that on at some point.
So that particular drain has never had a maintenance fund established. So we're either going to have to transfer jurisdiction to the city, or we are going to have to establish a maintenance fund, or we're going to have to vacate it.
Yep, thank
One of
you.
the three options.
Yep, I appreciate that because I was thinking more of a turn it on, but it would be an established.
We would have to establish.
In order to turn it on, yes. And that's something that I know has been on your mind. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, there's really three options there that.
Anything else for today, Drainage Board? Not, entertain a motion to adjourn. I'll second that.